You know what frightens me about the National Enquirer is there's a subscription form in there. I can see if you're checking out of the supermarket, you look off to the left-hand side, you see a picture of Princess Carol in a Monaco with a Martian hand growing out of her forehead. Maybe you've got an impulse buy, okay? But if you're sitting at home with this form thinking, I'm going to need this valuable data for the next couple of years, you're a dangerous fucking individual. I think society's got to step in before you decide to breed, you know, I mean... I guess that's obvious to most of us. How would you like to be a photographer for the National Enquirer? Is this the lowest possible rung on the photojournalistic ladder? There are Pulitzer Prize-winning artistes out there covering the insurgency in Chad, the political unrest in Afghanistan. You're sitting there at your dining room table doing still lifes of a yam shaped like Hitler. You know, what circle of Scavullo hell does this get you into, huh? You ever read the classified ads in the Enquirer? These are priceless. I saw one in there that actually said, learn how to avoid rip-offs. Send $5. Now, you got to be a real piece of Samsonite to answer this ad, okay? Honey, I'll send 10. We'll be doubly protected, okay? What are these bed commercials on TV? How many of the men in the room have thought about buying a Craftmatic adjustable bed just to see if you could blow yourself? You know, you get that V going. It's decision time, huh? You suck your own dick, you've made a commitment. I mean, there's no forgetting that the next morning. Oh, wait a second, did I blow myself last night? The hell was I thinking? I wasn't wearing a rubber. I don't know where I've been, for God's sake. I gotta lay off that Absolute. These old Milwaukee beer commercials, you have these 4 brain-dead hicks. They're sitting in the Everglades, it's like 3:30 in the morning, they're hunched over in a crock blind, munching on platypus burgers, sucking on a warm six-pack. The one asshole pipes up, you know, it don't get any better than this. No? Then why don't you just put that 22 in my mouth and pull the fucking trigger, all right? Professor Positive... Because I just don't find this tundra that mondo jovial, okay, pal? And these Snickers commercials where they treat Snickers like it's the ultimate food stuff on the planet. Like you can subsist on this shit. Try eating nothing but Snickers for around a week, you're gonna look like fucking Papillon, okay? I always have this young kid with this incredibly convoluted story from the 4th dimension. You know, I work at a sporting goods store, and let me tell you, sometime around the lunch hour, we get so darn busy, I don't have any time to put any food in my body. This would happen the other day. We're having our midwinter ski sale. It's around 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm running on empty. I have nothing in me, no complex carbs, no fructose, nada. Waiting on this young woman over here, right in the middle of the transaction. I don't know what the heck happens to me. I get all kooky, zany, wired. I think it was a sugar imbalance. I wake up, she's got a ski pole stuck in her head. I must have killed her. I wish I would have had a Snickers bar. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, whoa, kid, come on. Slow down, kid. Come on. It's candy. It's not Soylent Green. All right? Lighten up. I think what I'd like to do now is a piece I don't frequently do in public, but there's been such a up with people, Walton Mountain at Christmas time vibe in the room tonight I thought I'd share. Occasionally I'm laying around the house during the day. I like to play a little game with myself where I take famous people throughout history with the same last name and juxtapose their positioning. For instance, just imagine if the commander of the Union troops in the Civil War was not Ulysses S. Grant, but rather Cary Grant. I think it might go something like this. No, I'm just fucking around. I would never do that. I just wanted to get right up to the precipice, pivot, and jeter back to Coolsville. Well, what's happening in the world? I guess much of the issue in the world now deals with sex. Now that we've had this fun new variable dropped into the equation, huh? You fuck, you die. When did that turn up on the menu, huh? Anybody remember when the worst thing might be you'd have to buy breakfast, you know? Thank you for the jaded applause. Yeah. I've always treated sex somewhat respectfully, though. I guess earlier on I was a little more capricious about it, but I think you have to be semi-serious about it. I think you should trust your partner implicitly. At the very least, I think you have to believe they won't make fun of the faces you make during sex. Because, you know, when we orgasm, we all make that one face where we look like Shemp when he needed cheese, you know. You don't want the woman looking at him, honey, what are you turning back into Bill Bixby? Or what is this, some Kafka water bug thing? Or happiest moment of your life, you look like a complete asshole, you know. This is why men lose their erections right away. It has nothing to do with physical limitations. You look down and the woman you're with, it's like, all of a sudden you're in bed with Goober, you know. It's like, honey, stop that right now. I don't ever want to see that face again. No, I can't. Not right. I can't. You're going to have to flip over. I can't. Not right now. I think women are a little more creative sexually than men. Men are so often saddled with the birthright of being the sexual conqueror. They have little time for nuance. Indeed, their main preoccupation seems to be keeping score. Women, classically the sexual recipients, have a lot more time to lay back, relax, plot their next move. Let me show you the primary difference in the room tonight. How many of the men here actually use the little flap on the front of their underwear? I'm 34, I've never used that. What is that, a little decompression chamber for the penis? Or equalize the pressure before you bring it back on board the Seaview? What is that about? But women love to use the little flap. They get to play all sorts of fun women games, like Here Comes the Moray Eel out of the cave, and Flipper's got a backache, you know. Let's interrogate the political prisoner, you know. Open the pod bay door, Hal, you know. I have a theory. I think for the first 18 to 20 years of a young girl's life, she's familiar with the male genitals, but only on a sexual level. Anatomically speaking, she doesn't know what makes it tick. So when she finally forms her first intimate bonds with a young man, somebody she trusts, the first 6 months of the relationship turn into a big penis stress test. I mean, that doesn't hurt if I turn it around 3 times like that. That doesn't hurt if I pull this up on top like a little hat. I can actually look right into that. You know, like, honey, for Christ's sakes, what are you, Chuck Yeager? You know, I mean, they always want to see what it can withstand. You know, you're reading the paper, here, does that hurt? You look down, it's in a Black & Decker Workmate. Well, you know, honey, that hurts a lot, all right? So let's put the belt sander away. Because that really does hurt a lot. I mean, I love you too, baby, but you're watching way too much Done of You, okay? I think it's a quaint moment in any relationship when the woman feels comfortable enough with the man to begin doing a ventriloquist act with the penis. You wake up in the morning, they've got it stretched up here. Look, honey, it's talking to you. I know, baby, I own the puppet, all right? And let's move it back to home base, okay? What am I, Gumby here? This is not Velcro, this is attached. So let's put Gland Shop back in the carport, okay? But I guess all the fun we've had with sex over the years has changed drastically. News on the sexual front is unrelentingly bleak. I read this morning where they now believe you can get AIDS from hoping you don't get it. They say when you sleep with somebody now, you sleep with everybody they've slept with for the last 10 years. Well, they've amended that. It's even worse. They now believe you've also slept with everybody they turned down. Boy, imagine the day they cure AIDS, huh? Oh, man. I mean, if you can't get fucked that day, give it up. I mean, this is... Now people are whining about the fact they have to wear condoms when they make love. This seems to me to be a rather minor argument. I'll tell you how I approach it. I wear 2 in my everyday life. When I go to fuck, I take one off. I feel like a wild man. You know, it's sort of like swinging 2 bats in the on-deck circle, you know, when you... A lot of sex in the news, too. Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. Hard to believe Jim Baker would want to go outside the marriage for sex, huh? Jesus. This has got to be like fucking the Joker from Batman or something. I mean, you know, this is... While we're on that Batman thing, does anybody else ever get the urge to see Nancy Reagan dressed up in Frank Gorshin's old Riddler costume? Or Reagan getting up there, huh? I don't want to say Reagan is senile, but I think I read this morning where he's now eligible for pre-boarding Air Force One. 77 at the end of this next term? 77? And he has access to the button? You know, my grandfather's 77. We won't let him use the remote control for the TV set, all right? This guy would have been kicked out of Menudo 60 years ago. I guess Reagan's hurting, huh? He had the rug pulled out from under him. I'm sure he had felt he'd carved out a niche for himself in history as a pretty good leader, but all the shit that's hit the fan in the last year, he now looks like somewhat of a liar. Certainly his credibility has gone down a little bit. That must hurt. I guess in retrospect, the big winner in that last election might have turned out to be Walter Mondale. Although I'm sure it didn't appear that way at the time. If you think about it, he's got to spend the last 3 years in a relatively normal existence with his loved ones outside the scrutiny of the presidency. But it must have hurt that night. What an ass-kicking that was, huh? This guy made McGovern look like William the Conqueror. You know, I don't remember the final count, but I know when I went to bed, Reagan had 598 electoral votes. Mondale had 3. You think about it, that's only 3 more than I had. I didn't even run, you know, I mean. This guy spent $40 million, and I almost tied him. So, you talk about not having a date for the prom, huh? Guess he'll be turning up in American Express card commercials. Hi, do you know me? A couple years ago, I ran for president. I got stomped like a narc at a biker rally. A lot of terrorism in the world, huh? Beirut, there's a toddling town. Would you like to be a window washer in downtown Beirut, huh? I swear, boss, it was clean. I turned my back, the fucking building is gone, man. I mean, I'm rinsing off the squeegee, no hotel. I don't know, can I punch out? That whole section of the world's crazy. Khomeini puts women to death for dancing. I'd like to hold this bastard down and make him watch Solid Gold, huh? Just push this old man right over the brink. Look, Khomeini, that spandex is crawling up the crack of her ass. See that fucking turban unravel there, huh? How do they pick these psychos to lead their country? Yasser Arafat, the guy's wearing a tablecloth from an Italian restaurant on his head. It looks like Mr. Roper with a hangover for a... What is that thing? Didn't Lady and the Tramp eat pasta off of that in the alley, or what? Let me tell you something about Lebanon, folks. It's the few rotten million that spoil it for the other 11. You know what I hate about terrorists is this bizarre ability they have to rationalize incredibly violent behavior in the name of God. They'll always tell you they're merely biding time till the Messiah comes and vindicates their actions. Yeah, I can only hope when the Messiah does come, they don't rob his flight through Athens airport, huh? Yamal, you didn't shoot the guy in the sackcloth, did you? Oh, you shithead, that was Yahweh. I'm waiting 6,000 years to rap to the guy. You ice him before he can spill it. Try some decaf, Gunga Din. Jesus. I think we have to get biblical with these terrorists. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. They kill one of us, maybe we kill one of them. Now, I know that's a heinous thing to say. Sociologists will tell you if we do that, we lower ourselves to their level, and they win. All right, maybe they do win, but nice to know a couple of their boys won't be at the trophy ceremony, huh? Things seem to be in better position with the Russians, although that can go at any point. I don't know anything about the Russian people. All I see is the stock news footage of their parades. I presume that's all they see of us, in which case they must think our ultimate weapon is a 40-foot floating underdog balloon that we send over to hump the Kremlin into submission. I guess all the greatest minds in Russia are working on a Simon Bar Sinister balloon to counteract our first strike capability. And is it nuclear or nuclear? You know, I've actually heard United States senators on C-SPAN refer to it as nuclear. Now, color me reactionary, but I don't think you should vote on this shit till you learn how to pronounce it, okay? I mean, can we get a consensus on this one way or another before they do drop the bomb? I'd hate to spend my last few moments on this planet mired in a syntax discrepancy, you know. What else is new in the world? The Beatles have come out with their compact discs. I was reading this morning that from his cell in Southern California, Charles Manson said, you know, the clarity on these CDs is just amazing. And I guess in retrospect, they probably weren't talking to me on the albums. I must have just had a blown speaker wire or something. I feel like such an asshole. I really...